The devastating truth. Just last month, I spoke to two men who lost tens of thousands of dollars in online dating scams. And today, after 450 real-life consultations, I've got the data, the metadata. Where are you going to fall on the graph? Are you going to be clustered here in the upper left of the vertical in crash and burn? Are you going to be clustered here in the bottom right of the graph? In for a smooth landing. Today on Fly Me to the Philippines, we're going to talk about the top 8 mistakes that you need to avoid. And stay tuned at the end. I'm going to list categorically all the mistakes that lead to failure. And I'm going to list all the things that are green flags that most likely lead to success. That'll be at the end. Now, here we go. The results, the aggregate, the metadata of over 450 consultations that I've conducted in the last 15 months. What have I learned from my clients? I ask them 12 questions typically, and I plot their answers anonymously, and I create a chart. This chart. We're going to refer to this today. I've seen men find real love. I've seen men crash and burn and throw money away. And the difference comes down to patterns. If you had called me 15 months ago, I would have shared my own anecdotal story, and I probably would have tried to draw a trend line through that one point of data. But today, gentlemen, I'm going to bring you the metadata. Today, we're talking about the hard truth, not Filipina lies, but the hard truth about the 8 mistakes Western men make when they approach dating in the Philippines. We're going to talk about cases of men losing tens of thousands of dollars. We're going to talk about an interesting phenomenon where some men are meeting business women in their 40s in the Manila business district. Very surprising on which dating site that's happening. And I've got 4 or 5 points of data which have popped in recently, and they're opening my mind. We're going to talk about some outliers, some men who had success on Tinder even. But mostly we're going to talk about what clusters men in the upper left part of the graph, emotional disasters, and we're going to talk about the bottom right green plots of data, where men are finding long-term relationships and yes, even marriage. You're about to learn what separates them. Russian roulette to dating app platforms. They're not all created equal. Yes, I did have a client of the 450 who met someone on Tinder and is on their way to a smooth landing. But for the most part, Tinder doesn't work the same here in Asia as it does in the West. 3 apps where most people have reported success: Filipino Cupid, the one Chrissy and I met on, Christian Filipina, and Pina Love. Now, there's also Date in Asia, and quite a few men are meeting people one-offs on Facebook. Others don't really record. Now, I will tell you one thing. Christian Filipina has previously offered me money to promote their site, and I've not taken it because I don't promote anybody's product or site. And while half of the men who have smooth landings have met people on Christian Filipina, half of the men who crashed and burned and ran into the most aggressive scammers were men who paid for the $3,000 per year platinum package on Christian Filipina. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not making an endorsement, and I'm not saying anything bad. People do target those highly paid subscriptions for scamming, and they represent at least 50% of the men who've lost the most amount of money. Now, the most successful men don't reply to the incoming emails. They don't lead with their money and their photographs. They write personalized paragraphs of introduction. Most important is to know that the fish you catch will have more to do with the pond you fish in than your expertise with a rod and reel. Who contacted who? Did she contact you? When men are about to tell me about experiences that lead to huge losses of money, being scammed, irregular video chat, all sorts of problematic areas, large percentage of the time, the girl contacted them first. Now, this is a problem. You're a man, you have an algorithm in your head, you're very visual. So when you log on and you're ready to rock and roll, boom, I just got off the phone with a man. He said he signed up last night. He had 50 incoming emails. Well, the most beautiful women you will see on the dating site will be the scammers and those working for organized crime. And they will write to you, and they will put bait on the shelves. They will put pictures of women with tattooed eyebrows, half Ukrainian, half Filipina. They will put pictures of beauty queens, pictures of women in bikinis, pictures of women in yoga outfits. They'll have headshots of these women that are quite beautiful. And this is really hard for a man who's really visual to ignore. And so you have to be careful not to reply to the incoming messages, and you have to avoid the bait that's just sitting there on the shelf looking too good to be true. Mistake number 2 is pretty picture paralysis. Exceptionally pretty women using yoga outfits, bathing suits, barangay beauty queen photos, stolen photos from the internet. We are men. We have this algorithm in our head. We are visual. So the people that are out to scam you, they know your algorithm. They've done this before. And to be honest with you, I had several clients in the last month who admitted to close to $100,000 in losses, and they're still giving money to other women. So it's really important that you understand that your ability to use self-control when you see these beautiful women, young Asian women, is limited. And what you need to do is you need to follow the rule book. And if you violate the rules, you can't win the video game. You can't win the game of how to meet a Filipina. So again, tattooed eyebrows. They're $200 typically, very expensive. Most girls can't afford it on a salary of $300 a month. Makeup and beauty queen, like a photo that you would expect a CEO, a female CEO, to have this kind of lighting and professional makeup. Unbelievable outfits and showing of the figure. They're all there to attract you. And just like we tell men not to lead with their money, women will have learned the lesson not to lead with their beauty, because they are getting scammed in ridiculous numbers. Just like the men who are being scammed for money, the women are being scammed for their time and their affection and maybe some entertainment through video chat. And so when a good-looking woman goes online and uses her real barangay beauty queen picture, shows herself in a yoga leotard, she gets bombarded with 500 incoming messages from 45-year-old guys, players, married men, men who are the janitor claiming the Mercedes is his and not the principal's. And these men will take up her time, waste 6 months, a year of her time as she grows closer and closer to 30 years old. So these 27, 28, 29-year-old women, they're desperate to make something happen before they turn 30, and they get taken advantage of. And only when they come back online and they've learned their lesson, you want to look for a girl next door who might be pretty, but she's too smart to put her beauty queen picture. She's too smart to show tattooed eyebrows. She's too smart to have color in her hair. She's going to be a girl next door. She won't show her figure. That's where the opportunity will lie. One of our clients who fell for an organized crime scam, the woman had spectacular beauty queen photos. He lost almost $100,000, and he didn't even video chat her. And it was a stolen photo, we discovered. The men who chase the exotic beauty end up in the crash and burn zone in the upper left of the chart, and the men who chase the girl next door, and she turns out to be beautiful and have a great figure and be super petite, they're in the safe landing zone. Mistake number 3, video chat avoidance / excuses. Now, more than any other variable, when I hear he's not video chatting, when I hear that the quality of video chat is sporadic and questionable, when I hear the excuses that the laptop's in the shop but she's a nursing student, when I hear she'll only video chat for 5 to 7 minutes a month. 5 to 7 minutes a month, Chrissy looked that girl up for 5 hours, she turned out to be a ladyboy. They refuse to video chat. That's it. Stop and block. Now, I have a book coming up in the next week or two titled Western Man's Guide to Online Dating in Asia and the Philippines. And in there, I say 24 to 72 hours or stop and block. She might have a giant pimple. She may have dropped her cell phone in the toilet. She might have a grandmother in the hospital that day. If she can't video chat you, stop and block. So the hard truth of the matter, you absolutely must not accept excuses for no video chat. Full stop. If you want to be these upper left dots in high risk, rough landing, you want to be this dot to this guy didn't video chat. This guy, these guys in the farthest left and the highest, they didn't video chat. And we tell our client, the number one variable that indicates you are in trouble, that this is not proceeding as planned, no video chat. I don't care how often you talk on the phone or how often you text. I don't care. No video chat is a huge red flag. Don't accept excuses. Stop and block. Big mistake number 4. One of the most important things you need to do when she agrees to video chat, not the very first video chat, because Filipinas give very good video chat. They might not even be interested in you. They're so sweet. But the second or third video chat, I want you to ask her if she'll play a game. Tell her you want to build trust. You want to prove to her that this is your real name, this is your real age, this is where you're really from. Hold up your passport and cover your number and show her your real name, your real age, the expiration date of your passport. Ask her if she'll play the game with you and hold up one of her IDs and cover the number. Take a screenshot of that information. Capture it. Now, second, you can minimize the video chat on WhatsApp or Messenger, and you can open Google Maps or Apple Maps. You can see the blue dot. It shows your location. Squeeze it just a little so you don't show where you live on 123 Main Street next to the Mega Mall. And go to the bathroom and just turn the phone around and show her, hey, there's my blue dot. I live just where I said I did. You know, I didn't show you the street I live on, but here I am. How about you do the same thing? Turn your blue dot on. Go to the bathroom and show me your blue dot. Number 3, now, you don't want to lead with your money. You don't want to show her your mansion and your $3,000 art and your 100-inch TV, but on the third or fourth chat, tell her, hey, I want to build more trust. I'm going to turn my video camera around and I'm going to show you where I live. I'm going to go into the closet. There's no ladies' clothing. There's no kids living here with me. I'm going to walk out the front door. I'm going to show you the front of my house. I'm going to show you my street. Can you do the same? Can you show me there's no men's clothing in the closet? Can you walk out your front door? And if you see drywall and plaster, be wary. Who's paying for these accommodations, okay? Trust building failure. I have a PDF and you're welcome to it. It's called How to Win Online. And before writing the book, this was sort of a 50-page PDF. It includes Dr. Annen's 36 questions on how to rapidly introduce intimacy amongst two people who just met. Be careful, you could fall in love with somebody. So don't use this until you're really ready to take the relationship to the next level. But these types of questions, understanding her love languages, the color of her personality, there's 100 questions in there that help you build trust and take the conversation forward on video chat. If you're interested, just email us at flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. Specify you want the How to Win Online PDF. Men who end up in the red zone of our chart, they don't get trust verification exercises. When she refuses to show a verification of an ID, of where she lives, of her blue dot, they're okay with it. She comes up with excuses and they blow right past her excuses. If she says she's 22, you better get an ID to look at, make sure she's not 17. You're a 66-year-old with a dad bod. It's your superpower, the fact that you can fly within 30 to 60 days, that really gets her attention. She doesn't want to go through another 6-month, 9-month, I can't come to the Philippines, blah, blah, blah. I'm really not married, but I am married. So that's important. But just like Superman, everybody has a weakness, and yours is kryptonite. And kryptonite is cash. And the golden rule is don't share the gold, full stop. So this is so critically important. You know, it only costs 20 pesos to get like 3 hours of unlimited Wi-Fi at a sari-sari store. Most Filipinas, it's 50 feet out the front door, and there's a Wi-Fi box, and for a 20 peso coin, you're gonna get 3 or 5 hours of unlimited video chat. In certain circumstances, you can go to ding.com and send 5 US dollars worth of load. That'll get the video chat off maybe every other week, worst case scenario. But under no circumstances should you send money. And I'll say this again, a woman who really wants a long-term relationship, who is going to go online with the hope of meeting a Western man, she goes to her aunt, she goes to her batchmate and classmate, and she says the following: how'd you do it? What's the hack? What's the secret? And her mother or aunt says, whatever you do, don't hint, ask, or accept money. Full stop. And she says, okay. Now, some of these girls, they don't follow instructions. Okay. But that's how it's done. So whenever she hints, asks, or takes a $50 gift from you, you're done. She's not smart. If she really wanted a husband, she's not bright. She's risk taker. It's like feeding a deer. You're walking up to a deer. Why would you jump up and down with the lettuce in your hand? You wouldn't. And anybody who would is not too bright. And maybe that's not somebody you should pursue, even though she's pretty. Number two, if she has a girlfriend living the life, Cebu City condo, travel, car, holy cow, what's your job? Oh, I scam foreign men. I'm pretty. I speak good English. 6 years in a call center. I just scam foreign men. I work 3, 4, 5 at a time, different time zones. She says, okay, give me the hack. Tell me how to do it. And what does the girl say? She says, whatever you do, don't hint, don't ask, and don't accept any money for 10 days. And on the 10th day, okay, now, there's a little bit more information. She says, go find a seamstress at the open market. Ask the woman for 50 pesos if she'll take photos of you behind her sewing machine. Tell her that's your nickname, the name of the store. When you meet the man, tell him you're a hard-working seamstress, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. You're in the hot, stinky open market, humidity, sewing. Tell him that. And on day 10, you tell him the sewing machine broke and the repair shop said it can't be fixed. But he's got an inferior machine he rebuilt for another client. It's for sale for $164. She could really use some help. And at this point, whether she asks for new uniform, vet bill, grandma hospital, brother on the motorcycle accident, you hear that all the time. It's usually a small ask, $150 to $250. You have a sunk cost. You've been video chatting for days. She's done everything like her friend told her, full girlfriend experience, maybe even a little show and tell on the 9th night. And now she only needs $164 to keep the ball in the air. No. So if you want to end up in the upper left of crash and burn, give her money. If you want to be someone who gets into a long-term relationship with a quality Filipina, say no. Respect yourself. Do not violate the golden rule. And here's the problem. There's the signal and the noise. And in those first 10, 15 days, the signal is, does she ask for money or doesn't she? But once you send a little bit of money, because, it's not much money. It's dinner out in America, in the West. Once you send, and the kryptonite's put in your Superman tights, you start to have an illness. And now you can't hear the signal. There's too much noise. There's too much manipulation going on. Emotional manipulation, maybe a little flirtation, a little show and tell. She's telling you you're handsome. She's telling you you're funny. You can see the poverty that she lives in. You want to help. No, you will only hear the noise, and you will no longer be able to trust the signal. Communication quality blindness. This is very important. If you are video chatting hopefully, with a Filipina across the world, and her English is poor, and her ability to understand you is poor, but when you text, she's very good at English. But when you video chat, you find it's hard to have communication topics. This is one of the reasons why I make that PDF available, so you can be the man with the gift of gab and have 100 conversation starters. But if you find the communication to be unsatisfying on video, what's going to happen when you fly in to meet her in person? Poor English often correlates with the upper left of the graph, crash and burn. Quite often in these organized crime call centers, they'll have Chinese nationals in boiler rooms of 25 people using Google Translate, and they'll be able to write decent English, but sometimes it's nonsensical. Women with good backgrounds, college educated, who went to university, are going to speak pretty good English. If they worked in a call center in particular, they'll speak very good English. Now, I had something really strange happen. I had 4 clients who went on Pina Love. And now Pina Love would be considered a step below Filipino Cupid and Christian Filipina. But they wanted women who were roughly mid-40s, professional women. And not 1, not 2, but in the last 3 months, 4 of these men have come back to me saying they found a professional woman. One found a banker who owned property and had a 10-year passport to the United States. Another found a human resources executive who was able to get a travel visa to Canada. Another one works at a bank and has a really good job, makes $35,000 US a year, and he met her on Pina Love. So I don't know why Pina Love is not normally going to be stocked with good profiles, but possibly business women in the Metro Manila area, they're willing to pay out of their own salaries the Pina Love subscription. So if you're looking for a career woman, one who won't quit her job and stay home with you in retirement, or one who might be able to get a visa to come to the United States because she works for a bank or an insurance company, check out Pina Love. I've had 4 points of data, very unusual, and I think I should share that and pass it along. And they'll be really good communicators. So broken English, inconsistent stories. They're juggling 5 different men to pull the short con. They can't keep the story straight all the time. These are real red flag warning signs. Now, in terms of communications, this is very important, and Chrissy can't emphasize this enough. Meeting the family. There should be tons of family in and out of the common room, in and out of the kitchen. They should, after the 4th or 5th video chat, turn the camera around. When I was talking to Chrissy, I used to talk to her brother for 10 minutes every 3rd or 4th video chat. I met the mother, I met the father, I met the other siblings. She was proud to show them we were in a video chat LDR. And after I landed, she made it perfectly clear that after the first 3 days of meeting in the city where her sister lived in Makati, she would need to go home and I would have to have a promise ceremony and get the blessing of the parents. So a Filipina that is not on good relations with her relatives wants to go travel to El Nido and Boracay. Like, come on, let's go. I don't need to tell my family. This is not an opportunity to find success. Location and social media ignorance. Now, if you know nothing about the Philippines, you book your 17-day trip erratically, you don't organize it properly, you have no knowledge of social media. You came to the Philippines to see this girl and you didn't check her Facebook page, you didn't find out that she was with a Frenchman at a 5-star resort in Boracay last week, and you're flying in to see her. There's a lot of social media ignorance that can plague you. Not having a good knowledge of the Philippines and how to plan your trip can plague your chances for success. The first thing, do not ever let your Filipina book your hotel, Airbnb, or get you a long-term 1-month rental or 3-week rental sight unseen. Just don't do it. You're going to book 2 or 3 days to get to know her, hopefully without too much family around. The problem is, if she's not working, don't plan to spend a month right there where she lives. That's not a good thing to do. After a couple of days, you have to go see the family. That's a day or 2 maximum. So after 3-4 days, 5 maximum, it's time to blow that popsicle stand. Have a honeymoon before the marriage, and knowing where to go, when to go, what it costs, and having a little help with an itinerary can go a long way in you ending up in the green zone and a smooth landing versus nothing but trouble because you prepaid for some place that turns out to be loud, full of roosters and karaoke and bugs you can't name, and no plumbing and no hot water. Okay, just because you have to fly into Manila, you have to fly into Cebu City, doesn't mean you have to find girls to date there. It's only $50, worst case scenario, to fly off to Davao, fly off to Dumaguete, go to Bohol, go to Iloilo, come to CDO, and you could meet a girl who lives 30 minutes outside of town in a barangay that's not too big. She went to college near home. She'd never really been in like Chrissy, I took her to a restaurant that had a bar. She thought she was in a nightclub, never had seen a restaurant with a bar before. And these girls are integrated with their families. They live there. They may be a breadwinner as a teacher, a police officer, a factory job. They're helping the entire family who's going to school, who doesn't have a job, the elderly parents with no pension. They're totally integrated with their family, their cousins, and their church. Geographic knowledge and where you find the woman is very, very important. And you have to search and search and search to be successful. So the men who find a girl in Manila, the men who find a girl in Cebu City, they're less likely to be successful. Now, the second thing is social media understanding. Try and link to her Facebook profile. And more often than not, she would have tattoos on her chest there that I could see. She would have been at a 5-star resort with a man from England just a month ago. She would be living in a fancy house. How can she afford that? She had tattoos all over her back of her boyfriend's name. She was quite chubbier than the pictures she put on the social dating site. And that would happen like 80% of the time. Now, who knows how many are still unlocked Facebook files at this point. And when Chrissy does these background checks, she tends to find the goods on the cousins or the mothers or the sisters' Facebook pages that hasn't been locked down. Because a lot of girls will lock it down and create fake profiles when they're ready to date. If you are interested in receiving another free PDF, it's called, it's a 13-page PDF, How to Conduct Your Own Social Media Investigation, morally and ethically, violating no laws, just finding things that are wide open in the public. Now, it helps if you can speak the language, and it helps if you're a good sleuth, but I can send you that PDF. Just say, please send me the open source investigation PDF. Write flymetothe.Philippines@gmail.com. It's yours for free. And of course, Chrissy has a little side gig where she conducts these social media investigations. She puts in 4 to 6 hours. 50% of the girls come out fine, and 50% there's a crash and burn scenario. And that's how we get a lot of our data. When the men crash and burn, we know, they told us how much video chat, how often they video chat, where they met the girl, who wrote first, did they send money. We find that out as part of the debriefing, and it goes into these data sets. Mistake number 8 is meeting preparation disasters. We've touched on this briefly. Travel planning, poor preparation. Booking way too much ahead of time, locking in your accommodation, letting your girlfriend book your accommodation, no hot water, crazy bugs, no water pressure, power outages every Sunday, the wrong place for the wrong amount of time. Big problem. Family meeting stress. This is a big issue. You've never video chatted with the family, and now all of a sudden you have to meet the family. Well, what is an appropriate amount of time? You know, they don't really speak English, and they get what's called a nosebleed when you talk English to them. 2 to 3 hours is the appropriate amount of time for the first meeting. You might travel to their home. You might cater lechon belly instead of a whole pig. It might cost $250 to cater a meal for 30 people, including a small lechon belly. You're going to have the party there at her house. It's a little bit of a promise ceremony. Maybe you'll buy a $20 ring to put on her finger. You've known her now for 3 or 4 days in person. Now you go see the family. You pay respect to the elders. Maybe you bring a 50-pound bag of rice and you cater the party. Bring some sodas as well. Now, after 2 or 3 hours, that's it. Blow out. Get back. Let the family get back to what they're doing. It's a lot of headache for them to talk English with you, and give them some peace. Now, that could be enough before you get their blessing and you head out of town. But I would recommend you plan a day at a waterfall or at the beach or a resort. And this is going to involve you taking them out to dinner, and you might have to take 15, 20 people. You might have to rent a van for transportation. Socialize with them, okay? The first meeting is very harsh. You're just meeting. Everybody's on their best behavior. The kids are running around. They're not behaving, but that's the first day. The second day, you'll get to know people. They'll offer you food. They'll go in the pool. They'll go in the ocean with you, and you can really bond with the family. And you can show the girl that you're really in it for the long haul. But after the second day, that's it. Your obligation with the family is over. Even if she has a child that she doesn't really feel comfortable leaving, you tell her, listen, I want to go and do a honeymoon before the marriage. I want to go do a honeymoon. Oh, I want to go to Boracay. Chrissy and I, we went to 8 cities in 30 days. She was comfortable leaving her son with the grandmother. Many women aren't. In that case, you're going to go for 7 days, come home for 3. Leave for 8 days, come home for 3. Leave for 10 days, come home for 3. Let her pay the money. It's only $50. You can get flights for $15 and $20 if you book in advance and find the sales. But just pay the $50, including luggage and seat assignment, last minute, fly home, let her touch base with her kid, and then head back out on the road. Explore the Philippines. See where you might want to retire. Most men end up close to their wife's family's hometown, but others pick their dream destination up in the mountains of Baguio, at the beach in Surigao, La Union, Panglao, in cities with elevation like Baguio and CDO, Claveria, Valencia. Tour. Make sure you really do want to retire in the Philippines, and find out whether her 10-pound personality comes squeezing out of that 5-pound wrapper. Now, most women can keep it together at resorts and on vacation. So you're only going to find this out the second trip. And I encourage you not to start the K1 process at the end of the 3 or 4 week vacation. I encourage you to come back in 60 days or 45 days and spend a month with that woman and get to know her health, get to know her jealousy, get to know her tempo, get to know her family's health, get to know her family's finances. Do they drink? Do they do drugs? Do they need money? Are they pestering for money? The cousins, what is going on, and what are you likely to get with your Filipina? So good travel and timeline management is key to the people who end up successful versus the people who crash and burn. You know, if you're stuck doing nothing, living just near her family for 30 days because she talked you into booking a place, well, that's going to lead to some failure points. But good time management, good travel management, you know, I do help people with itineraries, and other people can help with itineraries. You can buy our book too, #1 still after 6 months, on Philippines travel on Amazon, and get the best cities for beaches, the best cities for cooler weather, the nightclubs you can go to, the excursions in different cities that you want to go to, and use that as a helpful travel planner, or talk to somebody and make sure, because I think you could easily save $50 in travel by having somebody who's lived here give you a little bit of advice instead of winging it. Learn these 8 lessons. Take them to heart. 450 men have shared their red flags, their green flags, their road to success, and the road to crash and burn failure. Learn from those examples. The success indicators. What are the actions that lead to failure? Let's just summarize them now. If you'd like to schedule a time to chat, you can do 10-minute free video chat. Just look up the link in the description box or the first tag comments, or just write us at flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. If you'd like Chrissy to really pound on someone's social media in a moral and ethically legal way, go ahead and write us at flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. And don't forget, the paperback is #1 in Philippines travel, 6 months running. Thank you so much, everyone who bought the book. So, gentlemen, it's your choice. You want to be close to the vertical and far left part of the graph, crash and burn. You want to be one clustered here as a point of data, smooth landing. It's up to you. You have to make the right decisions and follow best practices to most likely succeed. Till next time, Chrissy will be back.